Hello and welcome to another episode of Spoiler Appetite. I'm Tristan. How is everybody doing this this week? You know, we got Christmas coming up, and yeah, it's the most stressful time of the year. Well, for adults at least. I am definitely, I don't know, the holidays. I don't know if I just don't know anymore about the holidays, you know? For me personally, it's funny, I was just, yesterday, I was out with a friend, and me and her went to go see Jumanji, The Next Level, which I'll briefly talk about after this rant, I guess, is what you'll probably call it once I wrap this all up. But, yeah, we just started talking about how the holidays are just, you know, they're fun and all, but it's just kind of like, between we just had Thanksgiving, now we're about to go into Christmas, and I pointed out the fact that, you know, I don't get the idea of having basically in the terms of like being an adult as far as like the activity goes, where, you know, it's pretty much the same activity except in one you're having gifts, you're giving gifts and whatnot. Whereas with Thanksgiving, it's all about the meal and spending time with your family and all that business. And I just kind of was like, you know, why the hell are we doing this again? You know, it didn't really hit me till I said it, which is the fact that, okay, you know, put aside the whole tradition and history, just more look at the activity of what goes on. If you celebrate Christmas and Thanksgiving, that is, I just kind of felt like, why can't we just pick one? Like, why do we have to have both? I mean, yeah, I know the history is important wherever you stand with that history. You know, some people like Thanksgiving. Some people are just like, fuck Thanksgiving, we're going to do Friendsgiving and whatnot. And, you know, the general idea of Thanksgiving or Friendsgiving is sort of just being around those you love and all this business, and then, you know, a month later, you guys all come back and do it again, except you give people the gifts that they all wanted. It's just like, and we're gonna have another feast, and it's kind of like, I don't really get it. I think, let's be honest, nobody really gives a shit about the history. I mean, as far as Christmas goes, everybody, you know, especially if you're like a Christian or whatever, I'm sure it means a lot to you, and just giving the gifts and whatnot, and that's fine. But for me personally, it's like, I think honestly we should just get rid of Thanksgiving as a whole, because it's like, look, it's kind of like, especially those two. I mean, look, I love Thanksgiving as much as the next guy does, but I just feel like, you know, if I'm hosting, like, say if I were to host the holiday for Thanksgiving and Christmas or whatever, I mean, why are we spending this fucking amount of money on food or whatever? I mean, granted, you know, the food is great, but it's like, we're just going to do this again next year. Like, you guys serve turkey on Christmas as well. Like, why can't we just combine them together or whatever? Why can't we just like say, let's get rid of Thanksgiving? Because it's just like, okay, like, besides the whole, you know, Thanksgiving history, which, you know, look, when it comes to Thanksgiving, I'm just there for the food. I don't really care for anything else. I mean, yeah, I'm just there for the food. Nothing else really matters to me. Because it's like, who said it best? Somebody in my life, I think it was either my science teacher or history teacher from high school. No, it's probably my science teacher from high school who said, you know, you should be thankful every day, not just for this one special holiday and whatnot. And I just kind of felt like that really stuck with me. And now as an adult, it's like, yeah, we could totally get rid of Thanksgiving. I mean, you know, especially those people who hate Thanksgiving and the history and the baggage that comes with it or whatever, it's like, yeah, we just need to, you know, they want to get rid of it or whatever, and some people just don't celebrate it, and yeah, I get that. And it kind of is weird that, you know, growing up, you were taught, in history at least, about Thanksgiving, how about, you know, they basically told you the fairy tale. Well, it was true, but there was more to it than the whole they were getting together in the lands and blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, you know, us Americans just wanted that fucking land or whatever. And it's kind of bizarre that we teach the youth this and whatnot. As much as like teaching the youth about Santa Claus, but you know, it's a tradition and you don't want to like break their youth, and I get that. But I feel like as events, these like we're literally months, like 1 month apart from each other, and it just doesn't really make any sense. And I just feel like, as much as I love Thanksgiving, again, I'm only there for the food. Let's just axe it. Like, screw this whole parade thing. Like, just show the parade on goddamn Christmas or whatever. Because, you know, I don't keep up with these parades or whatever, but I imagine they have another parade for Christmas as well. So it's like, why can't we combine the two together? I mean, let's be honest. If you were to take a poll right now between, you know, which holiday do you love more, Thanksgiving or Christmas? I think most people are going to say Christmas, because Christmas is more spectacle as well. You know, you got the lights and you got the fancy tree, you know, fake or real, you got that, you got the ornaments, all about decoration for Christmas. And what does Thanksgiving have? Food. And these non-bright, dull colors, which is brown, orange, and all kinds of stuff. It's like, you know, Christmas is more spectacle and, you know, I guess more fun, especially, you know, gift giving and whatnot. And, you know, it's more fun. And plus, you're gonna have dinner anyways. Like, I imagine, you know, there are certain families out there who do that big feast or whatever. Why can't we just do that for Christmas and not Thanksgiving? Because I never understood that. It's like, I never understood, like, as an adult, I don't understand the idea of things. I don't understand why it's 1 month apart, you know? I don't understand that concept of, like, as far as the activity goes, of, like, what the family wants to do. It's like, okay, we're going to get together and have a feast. All right, here comes Christmas. We're going to get together, have a feast, and give gifts. And it's like, there's got to be more to it. Like, maybe I'm just, like, looking at it one view or whatever, but it's like, you know, what's the point? You know, I just feel like, what's the point of, like, getting everybody together? I guess, now that I think about it, I guess Thanksgiving is, like, for all the other families that are coming down, and, like, you know, if you got family from out of state and they're coming down for wherever, are coming to this one place to get together, and it's a big giant family reunion. And then I guess, you know, with Christmas, you know, it's just your family, you know, your mom, dad, and then your kids or whatever, and that's it. But then again, it's like, yeah, wait a minute. So no, it is pretty much the same activity, because, you know, with Thanksgiving, you know, some people don't go to, like, some people want to host their own Thanksgiving at their place. And so it's kind of with Christmas too. You know, I don't know. I just feel like, overall, I think we should just, like, axe off Thanksgiving and just combine it with, you know, Christmas, because you're going to pretty much doing the same thing, minus, you know, plus, you know, you get the whole gifts and whatnot, your gift giving and whatnot. You're still going to have your meal, but still, yeah, Thanksgiving, I don't know. I would love if society could break this habit, because it's kind of like, what's the fucking point? Like there are definitely times where I just feel like, you know what, one of these years I'm just going to skip Thanksgiving, because it's kind of stupid in a way. It's really stupid. It's like, okay, we're going to host. I mean, granted, I'm not hosting, so maybe I should be there, but at the same time, I'm like, it's kind of fucking ridiculous that we have to do this 1 month, and then we come back the next month, do this all over again, and give gifts. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. But I don't know. That's kind of what I wanted to talk about right off the bat, because it's just like, I don't know. Especially with Christmas coming around, and look, I am the last person that has this need of wanting to give people gifts or whatever. Like, I'm definitely not one of those people, like, who wants to give people gifts and whatnot. I just feel like, I don't know, my gift to you, as shitty as it sounds, is me. Like, my appearance should be a gift as it is. Like, I know that's shitty to sound, but at the same time, it's like, let's be honest, like, we all have way too much shit. Like, all we need in this life is food, somebody to love, and, yeah, just basically that's it. Like, that's all you need. You just need food, money, and somebody to love. And that's pretty much it. Everything else is a accessory, honestly. I mean, yes, we all need phones, but who doesn't have one? I mean, unless you're not allowed to have a phone, but still, it's like, yeah, everything else is a accessory, honestly. Like, that's kind of all we need in life, But we don't need, like, everybody's a collector. I'm sure everybody has their collections. Me, I have my collections. And looking at it, it's like, I don't need anything. Like, honestly. And that's why I don't really update. See, in my family, we do Amazon wish list. And I haven't touched my Amazon wish list in a very long time. I think the only time I updated was for last year's Christmas. And for this year's Christmas, it's that same thing. It's a gift card. It's still on my wish list. And then I added a jacket just for the hell of it because I was just like, there's really nothing that I want in this day and age. It's like, if I want something, I'm going to go out of my way to get it. I don't need it as a gift. Especially, like, towards the end of the year, it's like, pretty much whatever I want, I pretty much will get it on my own before Christmas. So, I don't really see the need to update my wish list or whatever. It's just like, and I'm totally fine if nobody gets me anything for Christmas at all. It's like, yeah, it's going to make me feel special if you get me something, but at the same time, I'm like, I really don't care if you don't buy me anything, honestly, because it's just like, I don't know where to put this shit. Like, some of them, like, especially like these collectibles that I have, they're mostly for showing off, and it's like, yeah, this is getting too much. And honestly, this is bitter for me to say, but like, sometimes when I get stuff for Christmas or whatever, if it's not clothes, I'll keep it. But if it's not clothes or something I didn't ask for, or which is very rare these days, a part of me is just like, I really want to throw this away. Like, a part of me really wants to throw away my gifts because I'm just like, it's not that I'm ungrateful. I'm just like, I just don't want anything. Like, when I say I don't want anything, I truly mean I don't want anything. Like, if I don't tell you what I want for Christmas or whatever, it's like, I don't want anything. I just feel like throwing it away, but I can't because that's rude. But that's just the part of me that feels like I need to throw it away because I'm just like, I don't want it. I didn't ask for this crap. I mean, I'm thankful for the gift, but it's like, you didn't have to do this, especially when I didn't say what I wanted for Christmas. And there's a reason, not just because there's a reason why I didn't ask for anything for Christmas, So, yeah, I don't know. Holidays nowadays, I'm just like, I don't really care for the holidays as much. I mean, granted, I'm trying to break out of that phase of, like, trying to give people gifts, but at the same time, I'm like, it's really hard to, like, ask. Because, like, if I'm going to give somebody a gift, I don't want to ask them what they want. I just kind of want to, get them a gift that'll, like, surprise them. That'll be, just be a gift for something like that. But at the same time, I think I just answered my own question of why do people give me gifts even though when I don't ask for anything, it's probably because of the whole, like, surprise thing or whatever. Yeah, I'm answering all my questions apparently. But, yeah, I guess that's my little rant on, the holidays, especially the end of the year. And also, I don't know if it's just me, but, like, the end of the year, New Year's Eve or whatever, I don't do shit for New Year's Eve. Can we get rid of that as well? Like, then again, it's like, I guess we'll just party or whatever. It's just like, yeah, I don't know. Holidays as an adult is just kind of stupid if you don't have a family, that is. Which, again, there I go, answering my questions of, like, why do we need these holidays? So, yeah, I guess it's all about the kids and whatnot. And family members and stuff. But still, I am definitely in the firm belief that we don't need these holidays. Or at least we don't need Thanksgiving and other holidays. But that's a different time. That's a different subject for a different time. But anyways, so yeah, yesterday, hung out with a friend. And we went and saw Jumanji: The Next Level. Now, granted, I knew what I was getting myself into when I was like, I want to go see Jumanji the Next Level. I wasn't expecting it to be on par as the first sequel, the last movie. I just felt like, let's see, I really enjoyed that last movie was very shocking to me. I was laughing till my face hurt, and I just had a great time with it, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun watching it. I really liked that. It was definitely got you in the mood. Here I go, referring back to the holidays. It really got you in the mood, the Christmas spirit, I guess, even though it wasn't a holiday movie, but it just kind of was a nice... It was definitely a movie you could take out the family to go see that movie. And, you know, as wacky as it is, it's got a little bit of heart, maybe not the heart that'll hit you to the chest or whatever, but it was definitely charming. So when I heard they were going to do a sequel and seeing the marketing of what they're going to do new or whatever, I was very like, oh, well, now I'm definitely in. And I'll just say that, you know, it's not going to be my top 10 movies of the year. Nothing like that. But it's still, I had a fun time, especially when you're watching this, especially when I was watching this movie with my friend beside me, just laughing her, like, head off. I really had a great time. And so it was a great experience. I mean, it's very cheesy, but then again, the last movie was cheesy as well. But I was very taken away with it. I thought it was very charming too, even though they kind of throw you a plot that is just like, you don't feel it as much because it's like, maybe it's because of the whole other characters and whatnot, but I don't know. But yeah, let's just say that I had a fun time with Jumanji the Next Level. Again, not the top 10 movies of the year, but still a good time to go take out the family for the holidays or whatever, but still, yeah, we still got Star Wars coming, but then again, at the moment, I don't really have a lot of faith that I'm going to like that movie all as much because I just don't like the idea that Emperor Palpatine is back, but that's just me. Anyways, let's see. So let's get on with the news. So there's a Wonder Woman 1984 trailer that came out. It's a teaser. It's not really telling me the story. I will say I liked it a lot. I am starting to feel like Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. I don't know. I mean, the more I see her in this role, the more I don't want to... I don't know. I'm not feeling I don't know. It's her performance that I'm just like, I'm not feeling that sense of emotion. And maybe it's because of it's the first teaser. But even when I go look back at that first movie, I'm just like, I don't know if it's the performance or it's just like, I'm not feeling that emotion coming towards me when she's like, she's the death. Like I felt for her when the death of Steve Trevor happened, but other times where she's like, you know, being very confident. I don't know if it's her performance that is kind of like taken away from my overview of the whole movie, but as her as the character as well. But she's great in the role. I think she's really good. She's not going to be, for me at least, going to be the Wonder Woman that I'll know and love forever. I mean, we all have our types of like, this is my Wonder Woman or this is my Batman. This is all that business. She's not my favorite Wonder Woman. Then again, you're talking to a guy who watches like a bunch of animation stuff, and again, we don't, as far as live action goes, we really can't. Well, as far as like movies go, like I mean, we do have Wonder Woman from Linda Carter, but that's about it. And it is, again, I still cannot believe that 2017's Wonder Woman is the first Wonder Woman movie ever. Like that is pretty insane to me. But anyways, the trailer. There's a lot of good stuff in it. It is kind of like, okay, so, you know, again, with the whole continuity with the DC Cinematic Universe, it's kind of like, I don't know what to say because I guess she's been active all this time, whereas in previous movies, she's been under the radar, hasn't said anything. But now, from the looks of 1984, she has been active, and I've been seeing a lot of articles saying like, so this kind of doesn't make any sense because she's been under the radar for how many years now from what was established in the previous movies. And all I gotta say is this kind of feels like, one, they're going in a different direction. They're not really gonna, they're basically doing what the Fox X-Men timeline did, which was continuity schmontinuity. Like, nothing really matters with the continuity, you just watch it as it is. And that's kind of how I'm watching these DC movies. Like, I'm not concerned with the whole, it all connected together and whatnot, because at this point, it's like, with all the changes and what's coming, it doesn't really matter anymore. Like, it really doesn't. So, if they want to do their own little DC Cinematic Universe, which, they can say that this is, their DC Cinematic Universe, or fans can say that, but to me, I'm just watching it as a DC movie. I don't really care if none of this makes sense, and if someone were to ask me, does it make sense within the continuity? I mean, again, this is the sequel. I haven't seen it yet, but I imagine it's not really going to matter, even though we had Shazam, which showed a faceless Superman with the Superman suit that we've all seen before. So, yeah, again, continuity, schmontinuity. Nothing really matters with the continuity. So, I'm just going to watch it as it is. I mean, that's how I'm kind of watching these. I think it was after the fact of Justice League, which after that whole debacle and it with the new changes in the Warner Brothers heads and whatnot, just, the different direction they're going, it's like, okay, changes are coming, and from what I've seen, it's like the continuity, as far as their shared cinematic universe, it doesn't really matter. So that's kind of how I looked at it. I mean, they're just more focused on filming and making a movie or whatever, and less so about the continuity. And sure, they'll drop hints of nuggets that is in the same universe, but it doesn't really matter. So, yeah, there's that. But yeah, the trailer. I'm sorry, I'm getting off on tangents. Anyways, the trailer is really good. I like that. It's definitely got that 80s vibe. The whole cheetah thing with Kristen Wiig, like, I understand fans are upset that it's not the cheetah that I know from the comics or whatever, and she's only wearing a cheetah jacket or whatever, a leopard whatever jacket within those character posters. And I gotta say, look, it's one of those moments, for me at least, as a fan of the comics and as a fan of movies, I can let things go. Like, I guess I'm just out of that state of mind of, like, I can't let something go because it doesn't look right like it is from the source material. And if she's going to be like this through the whole movie, I'm totally okay with it. And the best comparison I heard about Kirsten Wiig's Cheetah is that she kind of feels like the Selena Kyle, like, in Batman Returns, where she's like, showing herself as like this normal, awkward human being, but deep down she's like a thief and whatnot. So it is going to be interesting to see how that's going to unfold. And I am kind of curious if we do see her in the cheetah form, and if not, I totally get it. But at the same time, it's like we're in the 80s, so why not go for it? And plus, this is Wonder Woman, so anyways, but we also got our first look at Pedro Pascal as Maxwell Lord Zeus. I can't remember the name now. Basically a businessman. And yeah, again, nothing much you can really judge from this first teaser trailer. But yeah, I will say another great highlight of the trailer was seeing that Kingdom Come armor, which, seeing it all in its glory, I'm like, oh, that looks amazing. Looks really amazing. Even though the helmet part, even when the helmet's kind of like, why does she need a helmet? Because, I mean, she's Wonder Woman. Whatever. Still, it looks cool. It looks cool. And then the whole her swinging on lightning and whatnot. I remember seeing those trailers before trailers or whatever that pop up, and seeing her swing on lightning. I was like, well, never seen that before. So that's going to be interesting to see in the trailer. And seeing it in the trailer was kind of like, yep, I really liked it. And the whole Steve Trevor being back, I like that now he's out of fish of water, because it makes sense. But at the same time, it's like, okay, this movie, however they handle Steve Trevor, if they are still going to keep bringing him back for the sequels for Wonder Woman, that'll definitely determine that. Continuity, schmontinuity. Nothing really matters. So, yeah. So yeah, the teaser trailer for it was pretty good. I liked it a lot. Another trailer that I found very fascinating is, I don't know if you guys seen the Free Guy trailer starring Ryan Reynolds, where it's basically Wreck-It Ralph meets the Lego Movie, in the sense that I guess Ryan Reynolds is playing a CPU, computer, whatever, in a video game, and then all of a sudden he takes control, and yeah, he's like going on his own adventure, whereas, you know, the world around him is a video game, and every day it's the same thing, where his bank gets robbed, and he's just like, you know, he gets on the floor with that other guy, that other hostage, or not hostage, but his coworker is like, so how was your day and all this business? And it was just like, very much felt like the Lego Movie to me, and I was just, I'm excited for it. I mean, I don't expect much from it, because it looks stupid fun. But yeah, I liked it. I liked it very much, and I'm kind of interested. It's just going to be one of those movies that's just like, you know, don't take it too seriously. So I am looking forward to it. I mean, you know, Ryan Reynolds, as a performer, he can do no wrong in my eyes. So Power Rangers is getting a reboot. And yeah, this was interesting to see on my Twitter. So Power Rangers is getting a reboot from one of my favorite shows of when it first came out. Season 2 came out, which is The End of the Fucking World. And so the director of that series, or at least, I don't know if he directed Season 1 or all of Season 1 or 2. Maybe he did both. But Jonathan Entwistle, I probably butchered the last name, but I'm sure he won't be listening to this. But apparently, he's going to be directing the new reboot Power Rangers. It's not the sequel to the 2017 Power Rangers, which I will say, as I said on this podcast before, I was very excited for that Power Rangers movie. It wasn't until I started the marketing for it that I was like, why are we going this very realistic, gritty take on the Power Rangers? I kind of expecting pop colors, and I was expecting a Marvel movie, if you can believe it, because Power Rangers is that, like, you can be serious and have jokes. Like, it's very lighthearted when I think about Power Rangers. And I remember just walking out of that theater being like, I think going forward, no matter how many Power Rangers movies they reboot or sequelize, that to me will be forever my favorite Power Rangers movie, because of the fact that they spent more time with the characters and the chemistry between the characters, and then you never saw them in the suits to the very third act of the movie, which I was just like, I applaud them for that, because I grew to love those cast of characters, and I actually believe their chemistry between each other, and the whole training montages and whatnot. I really dug that a lot, and so it does suck that, you know, Power Rangers is getting a reboot, not a sequel, because they did tease that if that movie were to get a sequel, Tommy Oliver was going to play a part in it, and I'm just like, ugh. You could have gotten so, like, especially in that tone that they were going for, it really worked. It would have really worked. But we'll never see the light of day. But we're getting a reboot. And so here's the synopsis for it. The new Power Rangers reboot will bring the franchise to its roots. Quite literally, as the story will see the kids time travel back to the 90s. And in Back to the Future fashion, they will have to find a way to get back to the present. And Patrick Burley is writing the script. His top credit is the upcoming animated kids movie, Peter Rabbit 2: The Runaway. Now, I've seen a trailer for Peter Rabbit 2: The Runaway last night, so I don't know what to say to that if this guy is penning the script, but I just feel like, oh, it's going to be one. Then again, I don't know. Maybe if it's going to be goofy and stuff like that, it's like, why? I mean, you can totally take, not too seriously with the Power Rangers, but like, I don't understand why they would want to do that. The idea, that is, of going back to its roots and being more campy, and it's just like, I don't know. I like a more serious, not so, like, I don't know. I guess I'll just have to see it in context, but in general, the idea of rebooting a Power Rangers movie when the last movie didn't make so much money, it's kind of like, why bother? I mean, I think it's kind of proven that the average moviegoer, at least, doesn't want to see the Power Rangers on the big screen because there's still that baggage of Power Rangers. You mean that 90s goofy, campy people in suits or whatever, just fighting around a bunch of monsters and whatnot, and I think we're still in that age. And plus, it's like, it's still going on to this day. I mean, honestly, if you want to do Power Rangers nowadays, I would say do it as a series, maybe as a mini-series, but not part of the Nickelodeon stuff. I mean, if Saban wanted to branch out, like, if you wanted to, like, give a network, like a Netflix, for example, if you wanted to give Netflix, like, a piece of, like, yeah, why don't you, it's not going to be tied to the Nickelodeon stuff or whatever, just make your own Power Rangers series, because Netflix doesn't really do, like, I don't know, it doesn't do a bunch of seasons with shows, which that's kind of why I like Netflix, even though watching shows from Netflix is just too much because there's so much content on there. But yeah, but I don't think Saban's going to do that because I think he likes it where it is, and it's just kid-friendly, and yeah, that's just, but yeah, I think overall this idea of going back to its roots and being campy is kind of like, that's heavy. I don't kind of want that because I'm just like, I don't know. I mean, granted, I can still always watch the 90s Power Rangers with no problem. I mean, I did that 5 years ago with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and just kind of watched it all, and the lore is definitely there. It's just how they presented it in the very beginning is kind of goofy, but if you take those plot lines and just kind of translate them well into the sense of, like, it's a real take on it, yeah, it can work, but I don't know. But I don't know what to say. I mean, I'll definitely be there just because I like the director who they got, which is so, like, the guy who did The End of the Fucking World, which is a very dark, it's a very dark show, and it's very dark, but it does deal with the human interactions, so who knows, maybe they'll get it right this time. I don't, as far as with, making the monies and whatnot, but I'll be there because I like the director, and I like that show, and plus it's Power Rangers, so I'm just curious to see it, of course, so there's that. Okay, now time to really get into the show right now with Watchmen. So, do I want to talk about I'll talk about Watchmen, yeah, why not? It's just, I saw the other topic after what I want to talk about after Watchmen. But yeah, Watchmen Season 1 now. It's been well known that in the beginning, I always wanted to see HBO do Watchmen. And then HBO announces, we're going to do Watchmen. But it's going to be a sequel to the book. And I was not with that idea. I just resented the idea of it being set in the present because it's just like, why? I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't like that idea. It's just like, why not just adapt the comic book and get it over with? And then we saw the first looks of it, and I was not feeling it at all. And, I saw you got Ozymandias is going to play a part in it, and Laurie Blake is going to play a part of it. And I was like, okay. And then, as the marketing went on, they teased Dr. Manhattan. I was like, huh, that's very interesting. I'm I'm curious about that. That's definitely what I'm very curious about. It's like, okay, if he's back from Mars, what would bring him back to Earth is the question I have. So the first episode drops, and once it ended, I was like, okay, set up the new world with these new characters. Where are we now? Like, it was heavy starting the first episode with the flashback about the Tulsa race war, and which I'd never heard of this before, and it just shows that we as a society can be very, very harsh and like cruel, like really fucking cruel. Like, it's just, woo, that was a lot to swallow. And then we end it with, I don't know if I should, I'm going to say spoilers, and yeah, hello, it's in the title, so, but yeah, I'm just going to spoil it for those who haven't watched. But yeah, it ends, that first episode we're introduced to, we get Angela Abar, are pretty much our main cast, her family, Cal, and her adopted kids, and we're introduced to where she works at, which is the police station, and which she wears a mask, but she hasn't told her family because she's not, like, she doesn't want to, because of the fact that there's this past of, like, there's this white supremacy group, and they, one night, I can't remember what they call it, but there's a day they refer to as this day, and which this white supremacy group took out all these cops, and so that was, you know, after that they started wearing masks to protect their identity, and so the police captain of that town, town, basically gets hung by Angela Abar's grandfather, which she had no clue about. And yeah, so there's that. Wow, I'm feeling very sick right now. I don't know why Anyways, Watchmen. The first episode very intrigued me. Okay, you killed off the captain, somebody close to Angela Abar's character. Okay, that's interesting. Episode 2 ends. I can't remember what happens in episode 2. It ends, and it had me more, I was still intrigued. I was like, okay, because usually with new shows, when I watch new shows, I tend to give it 3 episodes, and if it can't hook me within 3 episodes, or doesn't have me more intrigued to come back to the next one, I usually just cut it off. And then episode 3 comes, and it's the introduction of where Lori Blake is, and she's a vigilante hunter, and that idea really stuck with me. I was just like, you know, that is very interesting to go that way. I like that. I like that idea. That just really captured my mind. I was like, I mean, what else would she do, honestly? I don't know. Especially since, you know, it's hinted that, Night Owl, which I'm forgetting his actual name, is in jail. So yeah, she gets brought back to Tulsa because of the fact that there's this, the police captain got murdered, and Lori Blake is part of the FBI, comes back goes to Tulsa and tries to figure this out and all that fun jazz. So it was really till episode 3 caught me, and the fact that, you know, this whole episode you hear this narration, and she's basically on a telephone, that you can basically send your messages to Dr. Manhattan, who's on Mars. And it was this idea of, like, she's still not over, you know, Dr. Manhattan, John, leaving Earth to go to Mars. And she's, like, telling him a joke, which totally flew over my head. She's telling this joke throughout the whole episode, and it didn't hit me till, like, I went on Tumblr and people were, like, comparing it to The Comedian. I'm like, yeah, that totally went over my head. See, that adds more layers because she's the daughter of The Comedian, John Blake. So, wow, I feel stupid. Yeah, so that happened, and this idea that she's still, like, holding on to the past and still, like, heartbroken that John just kind of left, because she even says, like, you've been on a planet for 30 fucking years, and you know what? Maybe you're right. We're not really worth fucking saving, are we? So that idea was just great, and I love the whole Ozymandias storyline, which turns out he's like somewhere else. You don't really know where he is. It's a mystery at first. It isn't until the very last episode you understand what's going on. You can kind of figure out of like what's going on, but you don't know exactly where he is. And it isn't until the very last episode that you figure it out. And that is, he's on the moon of Jupiter because Dr. Manhattan wasn't on Mars all the time. He was, they even show a recording of him building stuff and then damaging it, which apparently is all fake, and which is pretty great. But no, Dr. Manhattan decided to create life on Jupiter and sent Ozymandias there because Ozymandias was like, I saved mankind and nobody gives me credit. Nobody gives a fuck about me. And so Ozymandias is like, do you want to go here and you want the paradise that you've always wanted? And sure enough, he sends them there. And it wasn't until I read the article that, Damon Lindelof, the showrunner, is like, each episode in this season is basically a 1 year after another year. It's basically every time we see Ozymandias, it's 1 year. It's all 1 year. And it's like, okay, so here's year 1, here's year 2, here's year 3. And it surely shows that Ozymandias is kind of going insane because he's just kind of bored and there's just nothing there for him. And, it's just paradise and, he just kind of wants to get off, and it's pretty awesome. But yeah, I thoroughly loved the show because of its new characters and its new setting, and it was just intriguing as all hell. I mean, and then we get the really didn't see this coming at all, which it turns out Angela Abar's husband, played by Yahya, I don't know, basically the guy who plays Black Manta in Aquaman. He plays the husband. Turns out he's Dr. Manhattan, just in another body or whatever. And basically what happens is Dr. Manhattan falls in love. It's just great. I love the fact that, and this is where it got really interesting for me, was the fact that they explain, they translate his power of basically wherever he is in time, he's always there. He's basically everywhere. His consciousness is wherever he's been in time, he can just be there. He's always there. He's basically everywhere, wherever he's been in time. And I cannot believe they translated that so well in a fascinating way. It was just I cannot believe they did that. Almost as crazy to the fact that they showed the squid from the comic, which was I didn't expect them to show the squid, but now that they did, I really love it. So there's that. But yeah, I like that. It's very interesting. I do have a question about the whole, okay, so I guess, after Watchmen, Rorschach's journal gets out there, I imagine, and this white supremacy group just kind of turns it into their own hands, but not really, because, they're in for their own agenda, which is basically they want to capture Dr. Manhattan, become Dr. Manhattan. But then you got this other character, Lady True, who is the daughter of Ozymandias, and she basically kind of just wants to build her own empire because Ozymandias wouldn't give the money, the funds to her daughter to build this stuff to capture Dr. Manhattan. And she just kind of want to show them that she came from nothing to build it up because Ozymandias basically told her, I came from nothing and built my own empire, so I'm not going to give you funds. And so Lady True just wanted to show her that. But yeah, there's a lot to unpack in this season. I really dug it. And how it ends, which they ultimately kill off Dr. Manhattan, which is I don't know if I don't know, but again, we're going off of one book, and off of one book we kind of figure that there is no weakness for Dr. Manhattan. But yeah, so I guess they kill off Dr. Manhattan, but he leaves his power in this egg for his wife, Angela Abar, and she like eats it, and it's teased that because the whole joke is that, well, not a joke, but Dr. Manhattan can walk on water, and when Angela and Dr. Manhattan first met, she was so taken away, and so, all that business. So she basically has his powers, and they tease that she puts her foot on the water, and then bam, credits. And honestly, for me personally, I feel like that's it. I feel like, it kind of harkens back to the book where, Rorschach's journal, he's the newspaper, the small newspaper place pulls out the journal of Rorschach, and that's it. It kind of harkens back to that ending, which I don't know if I want to see season 2. I mean, it's just like, yeah, I would kind of like to see where the whole Laurie Blake thing goes and whatnot. And then you have Angela Abar, who is just like, yeah, she's a character that I'm pretty sure if she had the power, she would right the wrongs of like wherever. Whereas with Dr. Manhattan, didn't really do that. He just kind of just more of like, he's a passive character, So there's that. But yeah, I think overall, Watchmen was I had a great time watching Watchmen. I really loved it a lot, more than I thought I would. You have these great characters, and that twist with Dr. Manhattan, I just felt like, of him just basically being there the whole time, and us just not realizing it. That definitely answered my question, because after I saw it, I was like, oh, and I didn't realize I think it was that episode, I believe it was 6 or 7. 6 or 7. Yeah, it was at 6. At the very end of 6, we find out that Dr. Manhattan has always been on Earth for who knows how long. And then we just cut to, it's all about Dr. Manhattan and trying to save him, and it doesn't happen, but yeah. But I dug it because that was the one question I always thought of. It was like, okay, if you're having Dr. Manhattan on the show, why would he come back to Earth? Because he's a character that doesn't really care for much as like doom is happening or whatever. Not anymore, at least. But ultimately, what made him come back was the fact that he'd fallen in love. He saw his future and he'd fallen in love, and so much so that he was willing to give up everything, like even his powers of not knowing who he was. And so Ozymandias basically gives him this hydrogen symbol, not atom, this hydrogen symbol that basically he, puts it in himself. He's going to forget who he is, and he's not going to remember who he is. The only time he will use his power is it's just a response, defense mechanism where you just like instantly defend yourself without really knowing it consciously. So yeah, it was a lot of fun watching Watchmen, honestly. And the whole, who is it? Tim Nelson's character, Looking Glass, as he calls him. He's not the Rorschach of the show, but he's very much like the whole backstory with him of, actually, he was a very Christian person and whatnot, and then the events of 1985 happened with the whole squid, and he's in this funhouse looking at this funhouse of mirrors or whatever, and that's kind of what he took upon it after seeing the destruction of just a bunch of dead bodies on the ground, and he took on a reflective mask and just the symbolisms and stuff like that. It's very great. And then the whole Hooded Justice with Angela Abar's grandfather, Will Reeves. Turns out he was Hooded Justice, and I like that twist because that whole idea of like him having to like disguise himself as a white person, at least for his eyes or whatever, instead of it being black, because of the whole idea of like in the time period he was growing up in, if they saw him as a black man, they wouldn't fall behind him, but as a white person, he could get away with it. And so that whole idea was just like, it was crazy. I love the little, just the subtle details and whatnot. It's just really great. And I listened to a interview with Damon Lindelof, who was being interviewed by Mark Bernard from Fat Man Beyond, and I can't remember what the question was, but it was the beginnings of Watchmen, of why Damon Lindelof decided to do Watchmen ultimately, and him and Mark are friends or whatever, and Damon called Mark and was like, they basically came to me and said, how about Watchmen? And apparently this has been going on for a couple of years, even after the movie. And so Damon's like, no, I don't want to do it. And then the idea, it's like, why? I don't think Watchmen should ever be adapted because it's just Watchmen. Like, I just don't think it needs to be adapted. And so the fact that he was like, well, I had an idea. Why don't we just, look, it'll never be as good as the book, so why not basically do a sequel? And so that idea of doing it about race and all of that was just like, it was great. And I remember had somebody text me saying I didn't know Watchmen would be about race, and I was just like, I had to tell this person that I was like, well, honestly, if you've read Watchmen, it's kind of like that it would make sense, because Watchmen does dive into the politics of some things. Watchmen is basically what happens if, superheroes, heroes were real. The only superhero that there is Dr. Manhattan. Everybody else just wears a mask and fights crime, and that's kind of what Watchmen is, unlike the movie where apparently everybody has like super strength or whatever. But anyways, but yeah, I thought it made sense to like, yeah, we're gonna play on those themes of like race and all this business because it's 2019, and why wouldn't you? So yeah, that didn't really bother me at all. I mean, then again, political stuff and comic book stuff doesn't really affect me as much because it's like, I'm just there for the story, and if it revolves around those political issues, fine, whatever, as long as it's good, I have no problem with it. But yeah, the whole idea of that Watchmen was like revolving around it. But yeah, I thoroughly loved Watchmen a lot. I mean, best show of the year, I don't know how many shows I watched this year. I mean, it's definitely better than the CW shows that I watch, which the CW shows I only watch for like entertainment. I don't necessarily look for story and stuff like that. I'm only there for the characters or whatever. But anyways, but yeah, Watchmen I felt was like, it was definitely worth my time, I felt like. And it is kind of crazy that we have the show and we have Doomsday Clock, which is also a sequel to Watchmen, but in the comics. I haven't caught up, and apparently the last issue finally released today, because they've been doing it bi-yearly or whatever. Bi-weekly, not bi-yearly, holy crap. Not bi-weekly, but bi-monthly or whatever. But yeah, it is kind of crazy that we have a lot of Watchmen content, and for better or for worse, who knows? I don't know. For me right now, I feel like I like this. I like this very much. I like that, this is a sequel to the book, whereas with so far of what I've read from Doomsday Clock, it is a sequel. At the same time, introducing, I guess it's trying to put together Watchmen into the DC continuity, which I don't know if that's true or not, but that's kind of what I've heard of the theories. So, but yeah, Watchmen, I think it's, I don't know. I feel like if you haven't watched the movie, which is basically the book minus the ending, which, again, giant squid destroys all of New York. Not all of it, but like kills like 3 million people in New York. Whereas with the movie, it's a bomb of some sort, using Dr. Manhattan's power. But anyways, if you've never seen or read Watchmen, I think you won't be too lost at all. I mean, you do get the sense. I don't think you'll be lost at all, even with seeing the past characters and all that fun business. I don't think you'll be lost at all. But yeah, that's just my thoughts. And lastly, let's talk about Crisis on Infinite Earths from the CW. So I binged watched all 3 parts. I didn't watch it one show at a time. I literally waited till all 3 parts of 5 were out. So the first 3 parts are out. The last 2 parts are coming in January. And so far, it's not the worst thing ever. I mean, I was very excited when I heard that they're going to take a crack at their version of Crisis on Infinite Earths. And, okay, we're going to do this. And we're getting all these cameos and whatnot. And I was just like, this is so great. And then I heard that one comic from Michael Rosa Band, who plays Lex Luthor from Smallville, who was like, they didn't have a script, they didn't tell me what day I was, and all this business. And I was like, okay, that's kind of like worrisome. So should I be worried about the other cameos? I don't know, but there are cameos. That's all ultimately what I just felt like. It's gonna be cameos. I think it'll be fine. But yeah, so the first 3 parts. Here, I'll break this down. Part 1 was a good setup. I thought it was good setup, getting all your characters together. Part 2, I felt like, as far as plot goes, I just felt like they could have easily have done this in like 15 minutes if they really felt like it. But they decided to do this for all of part 2, and I just felt like, okay, I guess. And then part 3 was just like, I knew it was going to end on a cliffhanger, but I mean, it was okay at best. So part 1 basically sets up, the multiverse is being destroyed by this whole wave. We have these engines, and ultimately Earth 38, where Supergirl lives, wiped out. Just wiped out. It's okay. There's that. I don't know. I think there's there's good and there's bad. I think the bad I have to talk about is part 2, which is kind of like, basically the plot is we got to find these certain characters on these different Earths because they're paragons, and they'll be able to help us destroy the villain, the anti-monitor. Okay, cool. But it just felt like it dragged on way too much. So these paragons, these characters, they have to look for a Superman, or Superman and a Batman, and Ryan Choi, I think that's his name. Basically the other Atom besides Ray Parker. And the Ryan Choi thing, like, I don't even know if that's his name, but basically the not Ray Parker Atom, basically the second Atom, I guess, has to be found, and that's all fine. It's just the whole trying to find Superman, paragon, and we have to find him because, to stop the anti-matter. But at the same time, Lex Luthor, which I don't mind John Cryer as Lex Luthor. I mean, you do feel that, you do get that hatred that he hates Superman. It's basically using this Book of Destiny, which can basically do anything, is taking out all these Supermans on Earth or whatever. And so basically they finally find Brandon Routh as Superman, which I gotta say, yeah, he looks amazing. It's definitely, I mean, they don't establish if that's the same Superman from Superman Returns / Christopher Reeve, although there is that joke of because ultimately Brandon Routh Superman fights Tyler Hoechlin Superman because Lex Luthor mind controls him and basically makes them fight. And yeah, it's pretty great. But there's this joke afterwards, after the two Supermen have fought. Brandon Routh Superman is like, yeah, this is the first time I fought myself or whatever, so I guess they're harking back to Superman 2? I'm not sure which one. But yeah, I guess it's in the same continuity, and the Kingdom Come Superman suit, it looks great. I really dig it. I like that. It's just, he's even the red underwear outside the suit. Again, I don't really care I don't care where the tights are on the suit for Superman. If they're on the outside, fine. If they're on the inside, fine. But yeah, the Kingdom Come Superman, Brandon Routh, he just looks great. And it is kind of like a little unsettling seeing the blue eye contacts, because he's got those blue eye contacts in his eyes. And it's just like, it is kind of unsettling to look at, especially when they do close-ups of him on his face. And it's just like, ooh, that's weird. But yeah, it was truly great to see him. And then we have Batwoman going to find Bruce Wayne, who I believe is on Earth 99, played by the great Kevin Conroy. Now, when you first... this Batman, basically, as we learn more and more about him throughout the whole episode, basically this Batman has gone crazy, and he's basically been killing, or whatever. Now, at first, I was just like, I don't know how to feel about that. And that probably becomes, that comes from having this expectation of, yeah, this is going to be the Batman, like, he's going to be a good person and blah, blah, blah. But no, he's a psychopath and just killed everybody. But I did love that the fact that he basically started killing because of the fact that on his Earth, Kate Kane, dressed up as Batwoman, I believe, if I remember correctly, she took the law into her own hands and killing as well. And then she dies, and that's kind of what Batman drives him mad and crazy and starts killing everybody else. And he actually keeps trophies. Like, he kept the trophies of the victims that he's killed, like the Joker, the Riddler, the Penguin, even Mr. Freeze, like, so fucked up, and Superman. And I love the fact that the reason why this Kevin Conroy Batman Bruce Wayne is in this like mechanical suit or whatever is because, Superman put him in it. And I love that, Luke Fox was basically, I love the delivery, the line at least, where Luke Fox is telling Supergirl, who basically came with Kate Kane to talk to Bruce Wayne and just felt like, yeah, maybe let them alone. And she's just looking around. She sees the trophies and whatnot. And she sees the Superman glasses. And Supergirl's like, did he do this? And he's like, yeah, he did. I mean, who do you think put him in that mechanical suit or whatever? Like, that was awesome. And Luke Fox was on it too. That was just like, oh, so great. And I love the fact that Kevin Conroy was using his Bat voice, which... I love that a lot. And yeah, again, first time seeing it, I was very like, what the fuck? But now that I think about it, it only makes sense because ultimately Batwoman is the Paragon, which was like, and that was really kind of what I felt like, why they could have, I don't know, this plot of like trying to like have these characters, these are the characters we need to stop. The anti-monitor, it's just like, you guys, did we need a whole episode? Like, why do we need this character? Like, why couldn't you just said, like, yeah, these certain characters are the characters that are going to help us be able to stop the anti-monitor. Maybe it's because the fact that, they wanted to have these cameos, I guess. So, I don't know. It just felt like this is just for fan service or whatever. It's just like, okay. I mean, I don't mind seeing it, but I'm just like, this is kind of... It's not fan service gone wrong, but it is kind of like... It's kind of a wasted opportunity, honestly, but what do I know? I mean, again, the fan service we got was great. I mean, seeing Tom Welling... I've never watched Smallville at all. I've never watched it all the way through, because... I'm not going back to watch all 10 seasons, no way. But I did love the fact that in Lex Luthor's plan to kill every Superman on every Earth, he comes to Smallville, and you have the Superman, Tyler Hoechlin Superman, his Lois Lane, coming to Tom Welling is like, Lex Luthor's coming, you need to come with us, and then they just disappear, and Lex Luthor is like, oh, hey, Superman, and blah, blah, blah. And, Tom Welling's Superman, Clark Kent, isn't fazed at all. He's just like, oh, okay. And so he basically listens to Lex Luthor and why he's here and all this business, and Lex Luthor's like, I may not be the Lex Luthor of your Earth, but, you know, I'm just here to kill you, and blah, 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 and, you know, Tom Welling's Clark Kent doesn't really put up a fight at all. He's just like, okay. Yeah, he's like really very chilled. And Lex Luthor is like, why are you so like calm and blah and all this business? And turns out Tom Welling's Superman gave up his powers and is a father of 2 daughters, which is very nice to wrap up that storyline. It's kind of nice. I mean, I kind of felt like, as someone who's never seen Smallville all the way through, I mean, I've seen bits and pieces, and from what clips I've seen on YouTube of his Clark Kent, it kind of makes sense. I mean, I can't remember, somebody put it best and said, you know, his Superman kind of never wanted to be Superman in a way. And I again, I've never seen the show, but I kind of got that sense as well, watching that scene of like, yeah, he didn't really want to be Superman, or maybe he didn't, but he just has more responsibilities to take care of his family first. So yeah, it was very nice, and he got one swing on Lex Luthor, which is pretty great. And then yeah, so there's that. Again, part 2 just felt like, okay, the plot of trying to find these certain characters and to like help them destroy the Anti-Monitor, all this business, like, okay, I guess that makes sense. Right. Anyways, oh, did I also mention the fact that while this is all happening, there's a subplot of Oliver Queen. Now, spoilers again, Oliver Queen basically dies in the first part, and there's a subplot where Mia, his daughter, it's a long story about the whole Mia thing. His daughter, Mia, who's an adult, trying to like bring him back, and they want to bring him back, put him in a Lazarus pit, wherever on Earth, and Barry's okay with this, and Sarah's like, I don't know about this, we're going to need John Constantine to bring his soul back, and, you know, put him in the Lazarus pit, and he's not himself, of course, because he has no soul. And in part 3, we have, in that subplot, that ongoing subplot, they have to go to hell, which they meet Lucifer from the show Lucifer on Netflix, and he gives them a car. They got to go to hell. They find his soul or whatever, and then the Spectre turns up, you know, or not the Spectre, not in his costume or whatever, but the host of the Spectre, and tells Oliver Queen, you are the next host if you want to save these Earths and whatnot. And it's just like, what the, okay, okay, because if you're going to introduce him like that, why not just have that guy play the Spectre? Like, okay, that makes total fucking sense, I guess. Like, I don't know what to call that. I was just like, okay, whatever, I guess. Yeah, we'll have Oliver Queen be the Spectre through the last 2 parts. Okay, I guess. I don't know. Alright, I guess. It's just whatever. But yeah, it's got a lot of moments that are just like, okay, I guess I'll roll with that. Which, again, it's just like, are we just doing it just for the convenience of it? Because, okay, I don't know why, but alright, whatever, I don't know. And then, yeah, so there's that. There's that subplot, which just kind of felt weird. But anyways, back to part 2. So yeah, part 2, they find all these paragons, and Batwoman is apparently the paragon of whatever. Because after killing Bruce Wayne by basically shoving him against the electric box, yeah, that's it. Because that Bruce Wayne from Earth 99 tried to kill Supergirl and Kate, even though he didn't want to kill Kate because he already lost Kate. But yeah, so he dies, and his last words are like, there is no hope. So there's that. I did like that, you know, Kara wants to use the Book of Destiny, which again can pretty much do anything, and she wants to like bring her Earth back. And I love that Batwoman, Kate Kane, was like, don't do it. and she has the kryptonite that she stole from Earth 99, Bruce Wayne. And I love that they kind of teased the Batwoman versus Supergirl, because I would love to see that. As low budget as, they have on those shows, like, I would love to see it. I would love to see them go at it. But, it was teased. Nothing was really going to happen, or so we think, which that would be cool to see. But yeah, so part 3. Part 3 involves, they're destroying the machine that makes the anti-wave or whatever. They destroy that, and it's just like, okay, so what happened? So here's what I don't understand. Okay, so when this season of Flash started, we got this whole build-up of, in order for the Earths to survive, the Flash must die. That is in the words of the Monitor. And it's been this whole build-up to the crossover event, to it being paid off with, the Flash did die, but not that Flash from that show. It's actually the 90s Flash, played by John Wesley Shipp, who played the Flash from the 90s, ultimately sacrificing himself. And yeah, I don't. Okay, look, this is the first 3 parts, but like, if that's truly the payoff of that whole build up from the whole Flash has to die for the universe to be saved, that is the most bullshit thing I've ever seen. It's just like, okay, it was a touching, moving moment, but I don't understand why even build up to it. Because, I mean, look, we all knew he wasn't going to die, but you could have at least actually have killed him and then have him pop back up in like part 4, part 5, and then save the day. Like, it just didn't pay off like the way I wanted it to. Like, it's the CW. You would have thought they would have done this, but I don't know. And plus, it's like that death is probably not going to mean anything to anybody else. It's a moving moment for me because of the fact that, I've seen at least the pilot of that 90s Flash, which is really weird, and you could totally tell that show was very influenced by Tim Burton's Batman because it takes itself seriously. And yeah, anyways, that was just weird. I mean, it was nice. Again, it's a movie moment. I like that they added a clip from one of the episodes of that Barry Allen talking to, I guess, the love of his life in that show, Tina, just talking, and then it just, he disappears, and the antimatter wave is destroyed, the machine is destroyed, and then you cut towards the ship where all the characters are like, yeah, we did it, now what are we going to do? And then Harbinger, who's played by Diggle's wife, because she gets that power and the anti-monitor is basically possessing her, basically destroys Earth 1, and somehow the Monitor basically saves the Paragons from being destroyed, and they send them elsewhere. And this is also where it felt weird to me, where Brandon Routh's Superman basically doesn't get killed off, but he gets transformed into Lex Luthor because, well, I guess he does die. I guess that Superman does die, and Lex Luthor takes Brandon Routh's Superman's place in being a paragon of saving the universe, and it ends right there. And Lex Luthor did that with the Book of Destiny. He just wrote his name in it, and he's now the Paragon and not the Brandon Routh Superman, which is like, okay, yeah, I'm fine with that, because I didn't expect it to last long. But yeah, and then it leaves on a cliffhanger. They're on this rubble with every Earth is destroyed, and now they gotta do something to bring it all back. And that's kind of how it ends, on a cliffhanger. And that's kind of what I assumed would happen, because after hearing there's going to be 5 parts, and the first 3 are going to be in December, and the last 2 are going to be in January. Yeah, I kind of figured it in on a cliffhanger. But I think overall what I'm feeling is the fact that it just it kind of feels too much. And it's kind of stupid at times. Like, not the good kind of stupid, but like, just like, why are we doing this? Why are we going this way? I don't know. I mean, why are we going this way? I don't get it. Why did they have to kill off Oliver Queen in the first part, only for him to come back as the Spectre? Like, okay. This crossover isn't, like I said, it isn't as bad as the very first crossover with the Denominators or whatever, the aliens or whatever, that first crossover. I mean, but it's not as bad as that, nor is it as amazing as Crisis on Earth X crossover, because that one was just like, oh, that was amazing. That was the Justice League movie I wanted to see. So that's basically the Justice League movie on TV or whatever. But yeah, this crossover, I'm feeling like, yeah, this is like, certain things just don't pay off. And again, part 2, as far as the plot goes, just felt like part 2 just felt unnecessary, because that plot was just like, we could have just wrapped this up in like the first, I guess, I don't know, 15 minutes or so. Like, we didn't need to spend a whole episode trying to find these Paragons, only for them to like have to fight our heroes or whatever. Then they, one was still bad to the very end, and one was mind controlled, and all that business. I mean, it's very fan service, and I like the fan service, but at the same time, I'm like, it's too much. It just feels like there's too much going on, and I don't know. Hopefully these last 2 parts are good. Maybe it'll all make sense once I watch it again, like, not having to wait for these last 2 parts to see it all play out. Then again, I'll watch all 3 parts again. Just maybe I'll feel differently, because I like I said, I watched it in one sitting, and yeah, that's just me. But that was Crisis, and I don't know. Hopefully it gets better. So yeah, that's all I have for today. Thank you for listening again. And I'm gonna do something that I've never done before. I'm going to plug up my social media. So for anyone that's listening, I'm Tristan. You can follow me on Twitter at Alexander_Thorpe, and at Instagram, same username at Alexander_Thorpe. There's no E at the end. So yeah, so you can follow me on my social media. So that's Spoil Your Appetite for this week. Thank you for listening, and you've just been spoiled.